I used to watch Joel on TV, right? Back in the early 90s or whenever it was, there wasn't a lot of dog stuff on TV. We didn't have the internet. And I used to watch Good Dog You all the time with Joel, his show on Animal Planet. So I knew of Joel. And then I was presenting at the IACP a few years ago. And that was the first time I ever went to the IACP conference. And I was a presenter there, which was very nerve-wracking. And that's where I met Joel.
Three of us were speaking at the IACP conference in Colorado Springs about 4 years ago. And I didn't know either one of these guys, but I did want to say hi to Larry because the YouTube videos that he had done at the time, when I was teaching my dog trainer certification courses, I used some of his videos.
And he came up and he introduced himself, and he was like all excited and like excited to meet me, and like telling me like he was such a big fan of the stuff I was doing. And I was like, you're a fan of mine? Like, I've been watching you since I'm pretty young, you know what I mean? And so that was kind of bizarre to me. Super good guy, super great trainer, and we just hit it off.
So I just want to tell him, hey, I just really like your videos, and he had seen me from Animal Planet, so he goes, oh yeah, I used to watch you, when my kids were really young. We used to watch you on Animal Planet and stuff like that, and so we got a chance to talk. I didn't even know who, I never knew who Jay was, and so we got a chance to meet, and he and I spoke probably 3 times during that weekend about what he did. And again, that redirection with play using toys and things like that, heavy play and stuff, was just something to me that was like fresh. It was all new, because I've always used redirection using a high value treat. We were dealing with fear. So so it was really cool. And then what happened was I came home, I told my wife, I said, I'm going to end up doing something with these guys. I think I'm just going to put something together. And that was a long time ago. And my brain was going, and I was, life gets in the way. Right about the beginning of 2019, I started talking to Larry about doing this thing in Tucson. So reached out to him. We set it up. It was in February of like a couple of years ago, whatever.
And we just hit it off. And so we did that one seminar together. And after that first one, he said, hey, what do you think about Jay, And I'm a big fan of what Jay does. And I said, I think, that would be perfect. And that was it, history. We brought Jay on, and it's been like this ever since.
So I became part of this little seminar gig when Joel Silverman called me out of the blue and said, hey man, you want to come and do a presentation with me and Larry? And I went, yeah, sure, why not? Fuck it, let's do it. Which is kind of funny because he had never watched me speak, which is weird because I have a particular kind of flavor. And so I was kind of surprised when I showed up because his vibe is super different from like what I'm typically associated with. Like, he's very professional, he's very put together.
I do a lot of seminars on my own. I like these much better. Like, I enjoy working with these two guys. They're really good guys, and they're really great trainers, and people seem to like what we're doing. So, I don't know, it's working.
So, it's an interesting setup having 3 different trainers. And we are all, on the surface, we're very different. So like, we make different choices in the tactics of how we try to apply these principles with dogs. But kind of at the base, Larry and Joel and myself all do this idea where it's like we want to try to teach the dog how to accomplish something. We want to make training as fun as we can. We want to improve the relationship with dogs and people. We want to help them achieve balance. So in our strategy and in our ideas, we're very similar. When we get onto a tactical level, we start making different calls. So it's kind of interesting to see how people make different decisions in training. And then it lets people kind of learn different lessons that they weren't expecting or gravitate towards one style of training or another. But I mean, at the end of the day, we all love dogs, and like, that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, we do things a little differently training-wise, but when it comes right down to it, the end goal is exactly the same for all 3 of us, right? You'll never see one of us treat people bad. You'll never see one of us treat the dog bad. And we may have slightly different ways of getting to where we want to be, but we do a lot of things very similar too. And so when Jay's working dogs and he's talking, I'm listening and I'm watching and I'm learning from him. When Joel is teaching a dog, I'm watching, because teaching behaviors, like especially like precision things, never been my strong suit, right? And so when you see Joel starting off with something that looks so basic, maybe not very sexy, right? But then you watch a movie or a TV commercial and you see the finished product, you're like, no matter what aspect of dog training you're in or doing, it all starts very unsexy. That's dog training, and good dog training shouldn't be exciting. It should be pretty damn boring, you know what I mean?
Well, the goal is the takeaway, and we want to take away as many different styles as possible. In the dog training culture, I think people recently have gotten into this whole world of, one style and, positive only and, balance and this and that. And it's like there are many different styles. And so it's really important for people to understand that you need to work with each dog as an individual. The goal is that if you came to watch me, you're going to take away something from Larry and Jay. Came to watch Larry, you're going to take away something Jay and myself. And that's kind of the idea. So that's our goal, is to give as much information as possible. And the one underlying thing that I just want to just talk about too, and that is that we're all about the bond and trust and love with the animal. We're about that, all three of us, and there's this running theme throughout all of our 3 days that we're here. We're always talking about, it is the bond, it is the relationship, it's getting to know your dog and working with your dog based upon that individual dog.